Okay, recording. Hello, everyone. This is Bernie Burns.
Hey, I am Jeff Ramsey.
Gussarola.
Joel Heyman.
The sound of that mic being moved around is Jeff, who had probably about, 45 minutes to move your mic around?
To prepare my mic, and then at the last second I decided to...
And then waited until we actually hit record, and then started yanking on the mic. So how's everybody doing?
Awesome.
Great.
Fantastic.
Yeah, but...
It's bright and early. We're all super energetic now. It's not like one of those lazy afternoon podcasts.
So I think speaking of lazy afternoon podcasts, the first thing we should probably address is why there wasn't a podcast last week.
I was going to ask.
When in effect there was a podcast last week that did not get released.
How's everybody doing from that podcast?
Terrible. Terrible. I mean, we decided we were going to make a video podcast of us trying to play co-op Flock. That was the name of the game, right? I'd never seen it before then. And
it's a game on Xbox Live where you use a saucer, a spaceship,
And you heard popcorn.
you heard little puffy sheep and cows and all that. And how did it go?
it was miserable.
Yeah.
That game was terrible. I can't believe that's a game.
It was like a torture podcast.
It
So
was.
people ask if we're paid for product placement. You can tell this is definitely not the case now.
Thanks, Crapcom.
Yeah, it's a Capcom game. I think it was like a port from either a PC game or a PS3 game they decided to throw out there on Xbox Live Arcade. And I brought it in because we had fun being lousy at Left 4 Dead. I thought, let's take a lousy game and play a bad game and all be miserable. And it just was like 40 minutes of shit.
Yeah. I think eventually we gave up and just gave Joel the controller and made fun of him trying to play the game.
Yeah, I'm really glad it didn't come out.
There were like 2 entertaining minutes of us watching Joel by himself try to play, but it wasn't worth the 38 minutes that wrapped around it.
Basically, the game boils down to, here's a cute game with horrible controls.
Yeah.
And, like, you have to, like, it's almost like trying to, like, imagine a game where you had 2, like, charged magnets, and you push one magnet around the table with the other one, and that's it.
Yeah.
Except the other magnet, it just inconsistently will fly off the table and kill somebody.
And you think
Or get
aliens would
stuck.
have better, more precise controls. I mean, they got all the way to this planet, you think.
Well, you can fly the ship, no
Right.
problem.
Yeah.
I will say that Joel got to be pretty damn good at pushing all of our sheep into the ocean, which is exactly where they're
I
not
think
supposed to go.
his best skill was pushing sheep into the wall.
I was using the
Just
lemming,
over and over.
Using
He's
the
going to break
lemming
down that wall with
strategy.
sheep eventually.
I'll put up a little clip of it just to show, because I have it. I'll put up a tiny little clip of it online.
Please don't.
This the horror of it. It was
It's
awful.
it's a good thing those sheep didn't scream every time they hit the water, because that would really change the game.
I think Joel's best quote in the whole thing was, "I like that they squeak."
If you go ahead and put some post effects in there of screaming as they hit the water.
And that thing was like 45 minutes. I tried to edit it down to like a manageable 20 minutes. Didn't
yeah,
happen.
it wasn't
So,
happening.
that'd be-
Anyway,
But it would be great for a Machinima series, though, right?
What, a Flock Machinima series? I'm
Oh,
trying to do.
God, it'd be fantastic. A bunch of puffy sheep talking to each other, hitting the water.
so enough of last week's podcast. How about this week's podcast?
All right. Well, what should we talk about this week?
Well, I think the first thing that affected all of us that we could talk about is that we all got to go see the world IMAX premiere of Star Trek Monday night, which was really, really cool.
Yeah, was that the World IMAX premiere? in
Yeah,
Austin?
it was the first time it had ever been shown on IMAX.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
we did not get Leonard Nimoy.
No, we didn't get
At the screening.
secret screening with Leonard Nimoy or Damon Lindelof.
No, that was cool. Well, describe that then. I mean,
Oh yeah, well we have this theater in Austin called the Alamo Draft House, and they're just I guess you'd say very well respected in the film world and in Hollywood, and they do a lot of really cool secret stuff. And so they decided, and by they I guess I mean J.J. Abrams and Leonard Nimoy and Damon Lindelof decided to secretly show Star Trek, like the world secret premiere, after a showing of Wrath of Khan that they had put on.
They didn't even get through the showing of Wrath of Khan.
Oh, they
They
didn't?
put it out under the guise of a Wrath of Khan screening. Everyone showed up. They played like 15 minutes of Wrath of Khan, then did the whole trouble with the reel.
Oh,
We're not sure if
man.
we're going to show the movie.
they burned the
Then,
film.
they
Yeah.
burned the film. Then Leonard Nimoy came out with the new Star Trek movie. It's like, well, let's watch this instead.
And nobody knew. They all thought
And-
they were just going to see Wrath
And,
of Khan.
Yeah.
right?
yeah, and nobody knew, well, except some people that we know knew and didn't bother telling us. And that whole thing happened.
They didn't know.
That whole thing happened a block from our office, probably while we were here working on some bullshit video.
What?
Like Red versus Blue.
It was
or
probably the
whatever.
podcast that we were working on.
Commercial, probably.
Yeah, we were probably playing Flock.
But a week later, we got to see the movie on the IMAX, which was fantastic. What did you guys think of the film?
It was awesome.
That was awesome.
It's
Well, we got to say
It
thanks.
was-
It's not just Alamo that gets those things. It's also Ain't It Cool News, which is Harry Knowles' site. It's here-
God bless him.
God bless him. Is here in Austin as well. And so I don't think I've paid to go see a movie now in the last probably year and a half because of Harry and the guys from Ain't It Cool and like Quint, who who also we play poker with him, and he throws us free tickets all the time. Like I've already got to see Up, and then we got to go see IMAX. So if we ever do get free stuff from people, we do like Maserati. We like to throw that out there. So we can't thank those guys enough for getting us into all these screenings. But it was awesome.
Yeah, I'm going to be a bit bold here and say that I liked it more than Dark Knight. I don't know
really?
if I can drop that in front of everyone else.
Well, it's a very different kind of film.
Yeah.
I mean, Star Trek was fun and goofy. And
That's the thing. If you
popcorny,
if you buy into the Star Trek canon, if you love that, you'll love the movie.
Yeah, and it didn't drag on for 2.5 hours like Dark Knight.
And we will keep this discussion spoiler free in case you're worried about it.
But the casting was tremendous. That guy Carl Urban, who played
McCoy.
Yeah, man.
In all the previews for Star Trek, I thought the guy playing McCoy was Chekhov.
Yeah, he looked like a Chekhov to me also.
Because he looks kind of Russian, right?
Well, his first scene, and it instantly hit you that he was McCoy to me.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of Chekhov, without giving any spoilers, he's probably
awesome.
has the second funniest moment in the movie.
Which there's a lot of funny moments in the movie. I mean, even very tense situations. It's really funny. It keeps the humor. There were times I think maybe they went a little bit too far in like really tense situations, but overall it was great. It was awesome.
Yeah, good movie. Everyone should see it.
Absolutely.
I hope they make $1 billion.
I do too.
There's also a cool thing if you've got an iPhone. Flash, one of the moderators on our site, who's also a guy who gets us a ton of free movie tickets. He told me about these prequel comics that they have where you can buy them. It's a 4-part comic series. They're like $2 each. I think they're overpriced because by the time you're done, it's $8 for basically about
it's like a movie ticket.
Yeah, right, exactly. You're paying $8 for the comic.
The production value of the comic strip was probably not as high as the movie, but
I don't think the
probably
comic
grossing as much.
Cost $130 million to produce. No, I think you're probably right there.
And if it did, somebody's pretty happy right now.
But it was pretty cool. But I will say this: he kept telling me before I saw the movie to read the comics, and you should definitely not do that because if there's one thing that I would criticize Star Trek for, besides some of the humor stuff, would be the villain. I wasn't too into the villain, and I think the comic makes the villain even a little bit. It makes him confusing on top of everything else. So, messes with his motivation a little bit.
So, would you say the villain was the weakest part of that film?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think there's going to be like when I saw Indiana Jones #4. I said when I walked out of that movie, I said basically there's one thing in that movie that when it happens on screen, you're either going to accept it or you're going to reject it. And I completely rejected it.
I rejected it.
I don't know anyone that accepted it.
Well, I don't know.
My mom did, I think.
There's some people that thought that movie was fantastic, but I think there is a moment like that in Star Trek, but you're much more likely to accept it in Star Trek.
Sure.
So, I'll just say that.
Yeah.
I mean, I hate to give away that they get this crystal skull from Indiana Jones, but that's what that's.
Well, it's funny because you say that, but for my process watching them, they lost me before that moment. But,
Indiana Jones watched you before that? Really?
Yeah.
I hung with it. I had faith. And then
there was
Joel doesn't like old people, so I think that's where he fell apart.
I think Harrison Ford was rude to him at a restaurant once when he was out in L.A.
Did that happen?
No.
Do you have any Harrison Ford stories from your days?
I don't. I have a Britney Spears story.
Let's not tell that one.
I think the thing is Joel was secretly dating Callista Flockhart. And then Indiana Jones and his one earring swooped in and fucking...
Right.
You can't compete with that. Grandpa with an earring?
Can't mess with the earring.
So what else is going on in the movie world? I mean, Wolverine came out, even though it was heavily pirated, and it made like how much?
$87 million, I think.
It was adjusted to 85.
Do you know what J.J. Abrams said he hopes Star Trek makes in the first weekend?
Yeah.
He said he hopes it makes $50 million because that's realistic because the last Star Wars movie only made $40 million.
Star Trek movie.
Oh, sorry, Star Trek. Sorry. Wow.
Be careful.
I just turned into my dad. The last Star Trek movie only made $40 million in its total run. And that's such bullshit. I mean...
he's just saying that so that if it does bomb, he's like, well, I was expecting it.
No, he's saying it so when it makes $180 million its opening weekend, it'll be like, wow, this is great. We must be good at what we do.
Didn't expect this. Speaking of
you
which...
think Jonathan Frakes is at home, like, gritting his teeth?
Oh, he's
like,
probably...
punching his pillow?
Jonathan Frakes is probably hanging the noose right now.
Why do you think he's hanging himself? Because he knows the Star Trek Next Generation movies are over?
Oh, yeah.
Or he knows he's never going to back into another directing job of Star Trek? Which one do you think it is?
All of the above.
Yeah.
By the way, I think technically you were right. I think the last Star Wars movie only made $40 million if you count the Clone Wars as a Star Wars movie.
The last Star Wars movie?
Yeah, Clone Wars. Theatrically released.
Oh, that's probably true, yeah.
The cartoon, yeah.
Let me look it up.
Did you see the
Gus is
theaters?
going to look it up right now.
Joel?
I did not.
Gus, did you see Clone Wars in the
No,
theaters?
no.
No, I still haven't seen it.
I did.
How was it?
Yeah.
It felt exactly like what it was. It was the first 3 episodes of a television series, and that's what you saw.
Really?
Yeah.
Domestic gross, $35 million.
I have seen every single one of those Star Wars Clone Wars that are on Cartoon Network. I've seen every single one.
Yeah.
I'm not doing well. I'm not doing well.
It gets to the point with Star Wars where every time a long time ago, where you start watching the movie and it's like, okay, the guy jumps from land speed to this to that, and then you just start thinking to yourself, at some point I'm going to have to do that in a video game. At some point I'm going to have to do that in a video game. That looks hard.
Yeah, Force Unleashed was a good Star Wars release and blew away Clone Wars. If you know the video game I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, Clone Wars. They introduced like this little girl character in there, which is Anakin's apprentice, and it's just, it's so hard. Especially when they have such cool characters they don't use. You know, they take awesome characters like Darth Maul, spoiler, and kill him. You know, almost right away. You know, they gave Boba Fett a horrible death. Which I read later that
supposedly he didn't die or whatever.
Yeah,
hey, speaking of spoilers, should we? We're trying to keep this one relatively short. Should we segue into spoiler alert?
Yeah. Don't get me started on Clone Wars stuff. I'll go forever.
We could spend the next 4 hours talking about Star Wars.
Yeah.
So,
and there's been great debate about this office about, you know, should we spoil things in Star Trek or not?
Yeah, well, there was that. Yeah, there was.
Yeah.
Jeff, I'm assuming you were about to mention Joel and Matt's video. Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah. Well, there's they put out that video, which was great, Joel. Y'all did a great job in that.
Very well received on the internet. Internet said,
and
yay.
This everybody. I mean, everybody worked on it. Everybody. It's, you know.
That is true.
Like giving an acceptance speech.
I'd like to thank Gus.
Had a stunning cameo by me in it as well.
And I
carrying my
love
bags of ice.
I love that people got that.
Yeah, me too. It was cool.
I love the guys who said they saw Bernie carrying ice in the background of the video.
How'd that make you feel, Jeff?
Old and fat.
Man,
somebody
that camera really does add 40 pounds.
Somebody also asked if I was Adam Sessler, which is even more insulting.
Adam Sessler?
Wow.
Who the fuck made an Adam Sessler reference?
Some kid on the site.
Wow. We're really punching up the referrences here with Jonathan Frakes, Adam Sessler. Okay.
I guess maybe I should write down the URLs for the IMDb profiles so people know who they are. Would that be useful? My wife watched that spoiler alert video and said that she thought Matt's style and Matt's delivery was a lot like Michael Cera.
Really? I don't know.
Who's that?
I don't see that at all.
He's like the kid from Superbad, like the skinny guy.
All right,
the stammering kid.
Fuck this. Enough complimenting.
The Michael Cera.
Fuck that. We're done. We're done complimenting.
That's another IMDb profile. Shit, I got to write all these down. Okay, who was it? It was.
But there was a big debate in the video. We put up a couple URLs, and we always have this habit of whenever we put a URL in any video, we instantly register it. It doesn't matter what it is.
We even own, like, for instance, Captain Incredible with an E.
Yes.
From the Captain Dynamic series.
Yeah, I think Captain Slippery was taken.
Yeah.
Just like, that's truth mirroring art. But, so we grabbed the domains that we put up in the spoiler alert video, and we thought it'd be funny for the people who registered domains underneath us all the time. Because there's a lot of people that when they watch the videos, they'll just instantly go out and grab those videos. We thought about putting up a bunch of Star Trek spoilers. Like Matt had made this site and just put up a bunch of spoilers for Star Trek. And it was a big debate whether or not to do that. And I was the guy who said, absolutely not.
I actually pushed it live for about 5 minutes yesterday. And if you went to ZellnerTeeth.com in that 5-minute window yesterday, you had the Star Trek movie spoiled for you. And then,
what are we doing right now? We're trying to chase people away from our URLs. Is that what we're doing?
Well, that's not. I mean, those sites, we don't do anything with them. Like, we've had Donut Cam Kisses forever.
Smole.com.
Smole.com.
And Gus probably has some entertaining stories.
We have presidentialsluts.com, right?
Oh, man. Yeah, then every time we register these domains, we have a lot of them. We also have, like, dickfartvaginabutt.com. And, we host our own primary DNS. This is a little technical. And anytime we register these domains, I have to send an email to our co-location facility asking them to do slave secondary DNS. So I have to write emails that are like, Dear Hostmaster, can you please slave dickfartvaginabutt.com off of my primary DNS server? And I had to ask him to do straight Snape kills gay Dumbledore.com this week. It's always fun. I wonder what the look on that dude's face is whenever he sees the email in the inbox from me. It's like, what is it this time?
Joel, you're probably the same thought process I do now, where I'm just going to build in URLs that make Gus register
like the most
now.
offensive URLs possible.
Exactly.
Like,
we need to start personalizing. Put Gus's name in the URLs.
Like trannysailormoon.com. That's going to be the next one. Gus'sdiary.com. See, now we have to register these because I mentioned them. All right, so let's talk about the world of video games. Or since we're talking about site stuff with spoiler alert, do we want to talk about anything else that's going on the site? We did the OpenID thing this week. Gus, do you want to explain why we did OpenID?
OpenID, it's a system that allows people to create accounts on our site with some information pre-populated. So, like, let's say you have a Facebook account, or I'm not sure what all the participating sites are, but I'll use Facebook for an example because I know that they're one of the participating sites. You have a Facebook account, you come to our site, you can click, I have a Facebook account, I want to sign up. You click that, and it automatically creates an account for you with your Facebook avatar and your real name as a username, but you can change that.
Now, I want to clarify something about this. It's not a Facebook account or a MySpace account. OpenID is the overriding thing here.
Right. It's like a unified authentication system that all these sites use.
Right. And what this is this is something the internet, we've had a social site now for about 4 or 5 years, and this is something I think everyone kind of wants, which is like a unified global ID that they can use to log into anything. So you don't have to constantly make accounts on stuff.
Well, it makes sense. Like, people like me, I've got like 10 email addresses.
Yeah.
I don't know what the fuck I signed up with.
Right. Exactly.
Right. And so what is the number one complaint against that you've heard? And
well, the number one complaint is that people are using it. People could use it to make duplicate accounts.
Right. And why is that invalid?
Well, that's actually our fault because we kind of fucked up in that when we put it up, we put it up as sign in on Rooster Teeth with your Rooster Teeth ID, sign up for a Rooster Teeth ID, or sign in using one of your other accounts. And the reason why Facebook and MySpace are listed are because those are currently the big players. If this thing had come around 5 years ago, it would have been like GeoCities and Yahoo and all that stuff, right? So we made a mistake in that we put it up as sign up with one of those accounts, or sign in with one of those accounts, and it should have said sign up.
Yeah, it was just a verbiage problem.
Yeah.
The wording was a little confusing. Nice ringtone. We went through and tried to adjust it a bit, and it's a lot clearer now.
Normally what we do with any of these features now is that we push them out to sponsors first, right? And then we test them for a week, work out the little kinks, and then roll them out to the entire site. Obviously, if we have a sign-in thing, we can't tie it into sponsors so only sponsors can see it because the site doesn't know you're a sponsor until you've signed in. So this is kind of something we had to push out there, see how it works, see the problems with it, and then make some changes really quickly, which is what we did.
I can read you a quick list of the sites that use OpenID.
Yeah.
It's Google, Windows Live ID, Facebook, Yahoo, OpenID, MySpace ID, Flickr, WordPress, MyOpenID, AOL, LiveJournal, and Blogger.
And you know what? And it doesn't matter a bit, right? Because it doesn't matter who's using it now. It's just clear that this is in the future what people are going to use. So when, Bebop.org comes out and everybody's on Bebop.org 10 years from now, you'll have your OpenID and it'll be important. It's a future-proofing thing, you know? Yeah. And so it just makes sense for us to use it because in the future, a lot more people are going to have OpenID accounts. And it's a good open standard. It's what you want the internet to be, You don't want the internet to be these 5 sites like Facebook or MySpace or, whatever's coming out.
Just makes your life a little bit easier.
Yeah, exactly right. Exactly right.
Like I signed up for the Battlefield Heroes beta the other day, and I had to sign in with an EA profile I didn't know I had made.
Right.
And I didn't remember what email address it was.
Yeah. And if they use OpenID, or a great example of something we all do that I wished used OpenID is Xbox Live. Every time I go to recover a damn account, it's like, what email address did I use?
Yeah.
And your OpenID, as long as you know that ID, you can change everything else behind it, like email addresses. I can't update my email address on Xbox Live.
I will say this. Windows Live ID was listed as one of the participating OpenID sites.
Are they?
Yeah.
Okay.
So there's probably a way to do that.
But I know Xbox Live and Live, they tie directly to your email address. My email address for my gamer tag is like 6 email addresses ago.
I see. Yeah, I used a Hotmail account when I set up my Xbox Live because I figured it was Microsoft. I wanted to keep it all the same. So that's why I can change it, I guess, like that.
This is normally, when I bring up the one thing in my life that Gus is envious of, is the fact that I was in the Xbox Live beta group.
Yeah.
And
Fuck you.
I have my special memory card.
I got in the beta group later than you. I got in the beta group too, but it was way past when they were just giving them away to everyone.
Yeah. And, I never registered Bernie. I registered BuzzV back then.
You probably wouldn't have been able to get it back then.
I couldn't have because I found out the guy who has Bernie is actually on the live launch team. Anyway, so that's why we've instituted this OpenID thing. If you're an existing member of Rooster Teeth, you can tie any of your other accounts now into your Rooster Teeth account.
It's in the edit profile section.
It doesn't do anything except for login. It won't tie your Facebook to your Rooster Teeth. It won't put updates on one or the other. I know people like to keep that stuff separate. I certainly do. It's just a way to log in. That's all it is. So if you already have a Rooster Teeth account, you don't need to do anything. It's just for people coming to the site in the future and allows them to easily log in. Like that people say, well, how long could it possibly take to sign up for an account? It doesn't matter. The fact that it takes time keeps people from doing it.
Humanity cannot move forward as a species until we have this open ID and everyone's using it. It's taking too much time and energy for everyone to remember the
It was a vital plot point in Star Trek.
It was.
Don't say that. Spoiler free.
Spoiler.
Well, hey, keeping the podcast moving, you mentioned Battlefield Heroes.
Yeah.
You, so far, to my knowledge, are the only one of us that's played it, but I watched over your shoulder for a bit. What do you want to give some impressions?
It looked great.
Well, first of all, I was a little upset that there's not a Mac version.
Yeah.
So, we're pretty much all Mac in the office now. Bernie luckily has his Dell out there.
Yes,
I think
that's right.
One of only 2 Windows machines left in the office.
I guess the
keeping it
Mac
real.
Gamer parody video we did 6 years ago has finally come back to bite us in the ass.
Yeah, no shit.
Full circle.
Well, so you download it. It took a little while to set up, but it seems okay.
Yeah? Did you have fun playing it?
It's kind of fun. I mean, it's a free game, so you can't complain.
It looked like Team Fortress 2 and Battlefield 1942 merged.
It's got a cool
sounds
look.
Cool.
I have some concerns about it. I feel like it takes forever to kill people. Like, I have a machine gun and I'm shooting someone in the face, and I could shoot them for 45 seconds before they die.
Really?
I only played it for 5 minutes, but I gotta say I was not overly impressed by it. I also didn't see anyone in a vehicle.
Yeah. I don't know. It was weird. The map you were in didn't have any vehicles.
Okay, maybe, and that to me that's a big part of Battlefield. Is they were the first people to get in a tank, get in a plane, do whatever you want to thing right.
I feel like the airplane controls are kind of sluggish and weird in that game too.
I can tell you the FPS controls are sluggish and weird from what I played. And I said while I was sitting there playing and Gus was watching over my shoulder, I said, this computer has Steam on it. Why wouldn't we just go out and buy Team Fortress 2? And you two made the argument, Jeff and Gus, that, well, this is a free game. And I'm like, $20 is... there's not much distance between free and $20 for most people. You know what I mean? If it's something you're going to play for 100 hours, or just pick up and play, I would just buy Team Fortress 2.
Free is free.
Free is free, right. I mean, it's nice. The cool thing about it, too, is like maybe on a computer that you're not on, you can just sit down, and just go to the URL. If you move around a lot, especially you're at school or something like that, it's like a pick up and play game.
Also,
it's weird. It's weird how you log in. It's kind of like it's all browser based. You go to like a website and hit play. Now there's no actual client you launch on your desktop.
And we just saw on somebody's Twitter that we know that works at Blizzard that they're now signing up for the StarCraft 2 beta.
Yes.
Are you going to do it, Gus?
I already did it.
All right.
I think you go to battle.net. Let me look it up.
It's Battle.net, right?
Yeah. You go into like your settings in Battle.net and make yourself eligible.
There's a beta profile.
Yeah.
I'll go ahead and we'll put a link up for it with this podcast.
But the one thing that's nice about a game like Battlefield Heroes being free is that we can very easily do tournaments in it on the site.
Yeah, that is true.
It's something that everybody has access to, and the complaint I always hear about tournaments is like, oh, I don't have a 360. How am I supposed to play in the tournament?
That's not a complaint, really. It's just
buy a
people just wanting to point out to you.
Yeah,
like, hey, we're having a Halo tournament tonight, and they want to comment. Great, I don't have Halo. It's like, well, then don't comment.
We'll send
commenting
you a copy.
is not mandatory. You don't have to comment and tell us you don't have a 360 or you don't have Halo. It's like, if you don't show up, we'll get it. We will understand that you couldn't be there for whatever reason. It's like, whenever Gus, I love to go to your comments whenever you post a tech question, like, hey, I'm configuring these two servers.
You get like 30 comments that are all like, sorry.
I can't
I
help.
have no idea what you're talking about right now.
It's the worst thing in the world. I wish I had a server.
Must be nice. So we've talked about Flock.
While we're on the topic of video games, we're talking about Battlefield Heroes and stuff that's in beta. Should we give a quick moment of silence to 3D Realms?
Oh, yeah.
Who just closed yesterday, and now Duke Nukem Forever is apparently not going to come out?
Well, what I'm most concerned about is what is Wired going to name as Vaporware of the Year this year now?
Thank God it's off the list, right?
I mean, yeah, it's been 13 years. It's like an institution.
Gus sent me an image last night of a GameStop pre-order receipt from 2001 somebody had made.
Yeah, that's, what is it, Silent 00?
There's like /000 is a patient man.
Right. God. I mean, I didn't give a crap about that game. I mean, it's, to me, Serious Sam is now a better version of Duke Nukem than Duke Nukem ever was.
Serious Sam has made like 2 sequels and gone. I'd forgotten about that game.
Yeah,
when's the last time they made a Serious Sam game? That was like 6 years ago.
That site that has the list of everything that's happened since Duke Nukem announced and has been in development, it's crazy the amount of stuff that's come out since then. It was like all 3 Star Wars prequels have come out. All the entire Matrix trilogy, the entire Lord of the Rings trilogy, everything that's come out while Duke Nukem Forever has been
probably
in
every Harry Potter movie.
Yeah, definitely.
Probably Harry Potter.
Maybe Harry Potter.
I looked the Dow when it was announced. The Dow was at 5,700.
Oh wow!
Oh,
We actually haven't come that far.
We went really far and then we came back.
That's crazy.
I like that the financial thing get to rise out of you guys. But anyway, Duke Nukem is dead. It joins the ranks of stuff like Phantom and every other piece of vaporware.
So okay, it was 13 years, so it was announced in 96?
97, they said.
97. Yeah. So 90.
It was before any of us knew each other.
I was in my 7th year of college.
It was before, like, we met in 98, 99, somewhere around there.
Yeah, we did.
97, I was busy dropping out.
We had just wrapped the schedule.
Yeah, we had just finished making the schedule, Joel and I. So
maybe even a year earlier.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I was probably in Kuwait in the Army. Jesus. That's a long-ass time ago.
Jeff, are you enjoying playing Wolverine? Are we allowed to talk about that?
Wolverine's out?
Yeah,
Game's
Wolverine's
been
out
for a week.
Okay, see? I can't even tell. Is anyone going to see the movie?
Joel is playing a game right now for something we're working on for a television commercial. I wish we could talk about that game.
Yeah.
That game is fucking awesome, dude. But we will definitely, later in a later podcast, we will bring up this game again.
And we'll talk about it.
The gameplay is a lot of fun.
Oh my god, it's great. Anyway.
I wish I could even describe, like, because it's like two things put together, but I don't even want to mention that to give it a clue. But yeah, Joel's working on a commercial for it, I guess. And the reason you asked about the Wolverine thing is because you made the TV spots for the Wolverine commercial, right?
We did. Hopefully that came off okay. But is anyone going to go see the movie?
I haven't seen it.
I don't know. It's hard. I'd like to.
Wasn't planning on it.
I gotta say, movie theaters right now are the only thing to me that's like registering on like that swine flu paranoia level for me. Like, I don't want to go sit in a movie theater with a bunch of random people. I just don't want to do it.
You know,
Is it because that's seen in Outbreak?
It's just, it's like, you know, I just don't want to do it. I don't want to talk about it because I don't want to seem like a freak, but I just don't want to do it.
To answer your question, Joel, the Wolverine game is fun, I guess. It's a decent game, but it is the most oddly paced game I've ever played. Like, it's a 5-chapter game. Chapter 1 and 2 were decent. Chapter 3 was as long as 1 and 2 put together, and then it did this thing. People say it's like God of War. I've never played God of War, so I'm not sure, but I got to the end of Chapter 3, and I had a huge boss battle. I fought a Sentinel, which was really cool, and I go, oh, that was the boss for Chapter 3. Then I immediately had a boss battle where I fought the Blob, and I go, well, that's an odd thing to do, stack boss battles back to back. Then Chapter 4 started with a boss battle against Gambit. So I had 3 boss battles in a row, which is just really weird and kind of exhausting.
It sounds like a fighting game, like Street Fighter.
But it's
or something
not.
like
yeah,
that.
I know it's like a hack and slash kind of game.
And the gore is pretty.
It's incredibly gory, dude. It is like, it's bizarre.
Well,
it's like,
I can say of the people I know who have seen the movie and played the game, everyone says they like the game more than the movie.
I can totally see that.
It's funny because when we first saw the opening sequence for Wolverine, it was like, gosh, I remember what it was like. You know, I'm old, so it's like I remember it was like in 1980, and they would have like a villain in a movie, and now, like, the hero is punishing people and destroying people in a way that the villain would never do.
Well, dude,
it's like
you said that, and it made me think of, like, even further back, like, you know, folklore in the Middle Ages, like, oh, there's a beast that lives in the jungle and he'll rip you apart, and he's, you know, invulnerable, and he has metal coming out of his hands and will, you know, slice you up. It's like a weird, like, vampire or something.
To give an idea of how I guess brutal that game is, I had a sequence the other day where I jumped on a helicopter, punched through the window, pulled the dude out of the helicopter, and to kill him, I could have just thrown him off the helicopter.
Not enough.
But no, I could have stabbed him with my claws. Nope. I picked him up and I stuck his head in the rotor.
He has to understand who's boss.
So that's how he got beheaded, and it shows the whole thing. You're just like,
right.
Wow.
It shows the blood going through
like
the rotor of like
the game is
around.
not fucking around. It's a decent game though. It's worth buying, I'd say. You know,
is this the first time where a video game tie into a movie is better than the movie?
No, I hear Chronicles of Riddick was better.
Oh
than
yeah, I never played that game.
But supposedly that game was great. I don't know. They just made a new one, Dark Athena, right?
Yeah, didn't make another movie.
No, they did, didn't they?
No, they made
not for that game, but I think there's been 2 Riddick movies now, right?
I thought there was only one.
I think there might have been.
Wasn't it? I thought it was 2. I could be wrong.
I could be wrong too.
Well, the point is it's rare. Usually the movie is great and the video game sucks.
Although I hear Godfather 2 is better than the movie. I don't know.
We talked about we talked about that last week in the podcast we didn't put out, was that I was wondering why Pixar does not make a gaming division. They make such great movies, and all the Pixar games suck. And Gus, you pointed out very accurately that Pixar doesn't make the games, but why not? I mean, they got the same staff that does all that stuff. They have environment designers. You know, they have modelers, textures, everything you need. They just don't have gameplay people or game design people. But that's like, you know, they could easily do that, you know, and work together and make. I bet Pixar would make awesome games. You know,
I'd almost want Pixar. You know, it's like you're right. They're so good at making movies. I'd almost rather just have them make a freestanding video game not based on a movie.
I could see that. Yeah, absolutely. But like Cars was Jeff, right? It was a bad video game.
Cars was atrocious. Yeah,
and then Ratatouille was horrible.
Ratatouille might be one of the worst 360 games.
Yeah.
To date. Yeah.
Well, those are the 2 worst Pixar movies ever. So,
dude.
And how does that fly past quality control? I mean, how does that make it through? You think like Pixar?
You know,
would
it's
be...
like once you have a branding, once you have one thing that's successful, then it's like we're not going to put any more effort into anything around that one successful branding.
Yeah,
we're just going to put money off.
They probably don't give a fuck. I mean, they sold 7 million copies of that Cars video game.
Yeah.
So what's it matter?
It was actually the best-selling title
that year.
Yeah, it outsold everything
That's
else.
Right. That's right. Well,
can you do me a favor, Jeff?
Yeah.
You're confusing the shit out of me. Your wife and you on the site are confusing the fuck out of me because you guys change avatars about once every other day, and you guys constantly use avatars of each other and pictures of each other as your avatar. I never know who the fuck I'm talking to.
It's funny that you say that
I've
because my
ever
next
done
avatar
that.
was going to be a picture of Jeff.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
You'll do that all the time.
Do you know what I'm
I
talking
don't
about?
know that I've
I
ever had a
I
picture of
totally
Griffin
know.
as my avatar.
Yes.
Yes, you have. Yes,
What's
you
my
have.
avatar right now?
And she always has pictures of you too.
Well, who? I mean,
What's your
look at me.
What's
I'm
your avatar
awesome.
in AIM?
I have no idea.
It's Griffin and Millie.
Oh, that's AIM. That's different. No, my avatar on the site.
It's like you two guys are consistent in that you always use pictures of yourself, but you use pictures of each other all the time.
Yeah, my avatar is a Achievement Hunter avatar. I don't know what you're talking about. You're crazy.
Yeah, right now it is.
I'm not getting in trouble for this. I don't think I have a single photo of my wife in my.
I'm looking
images.
at a picture of your.
That's AIM.
It doesn't matter.
different.
It doesn't matter.
That's even more confusing.
I mean, I talk to you on
How are
AIM more than I talk to you on the site.
That's true.
So cut it out.
Well,
But the
in
funny
person,
thing,
you-
in Jeff's defense, the funny thing about the avatar of Griffin right there you're looking at AIM is that there's a real name right next to it.
I'm changing my AIM picture to a picture of Bernie. That way, when he talks to me, he thinks he's talking to himself.
Gus, it's not confusing on the level that I can't figure it out. I mean, I can figure it out because it has a name there too. But the avatar is supposed to be this thing I look at and I can identify. I hate when people change their avatars anyway.
Yeah, it's funny, especially early on the website when we just started or whatever, and people get
well,
established.
by that token, how come you don't have your Mr. T avatar still from like 9 years ago?
No, I don't like. I mean, changing avatars is a totally different discussion.
His avatar is his face.
Whose?
Yours.
Yeah.
Bernie's.
Although that Mr. T avatar was probably the greatest.
It was pretty good.
Avatar ever.
It was probably the greatest picture I'd ever seen in my life. It was Gary Coleman
Do you still
on
have-
Different Stroke dressed as Mr. T.
Do you still have that in your image gallery?
Oh, yeah. No, I don't know if I have it in my image gallery, but I'll put it up. I'll put it up so people
Yeah,
can see it.
I need to link that for a podcast.
Dude, that was my Busby avatar. I had that forever. Forever I had that. And then when
it's for the longest time I thought you were Gary Coleman.
And I'm conscious of the fact that when I switch my avatar, I always switch it. I always go back. Like right now, I've got a drawing that one of the guys on the site made of me, but I'll go back to my other avatar, which was that Luke McKay one, the white with black. Just because, I think you should have a standard avatar and stick with it.
So I'm going to call for a new avatar trend then, which is to post a random other person's face as your avatar.
It's chaos.
It's
It's like society falling apart. It'll be anarchy on the site. No one will know what's going on. It's going to be...
And occasionally somebody on the site will do that. Somebody will take someone else's avatar.
No,
as
no.
theirs.
But, I mean, if everybody did that on the site, just like everyone shifted the avatars one to the left or whatever,
Yes.
it would be anarchy.
You are your avatar. We should build in the thing where you just like randomly assign you an avatar of someone else on the site. Like just picks one at random.
And then when Christmas comes, you have to send that person a secret
A secret?
present.
Present.
Secret Santa.
it's like when people change names on the site too, or change accounts.
I hate that.
That's the thing about the whole OpenID thing. People are like, well, we can make a different account, right? Look, and you could make a different account if you had another email address anyway. You just get banned for it. And if you want to have one main account on the site and a side account, you're just making it confusing for other people. There's no benefit to it at all, and you're going to end up getting your entire IP banned, if you find out that you have duplicate accounts, and that sucks. And then we have to go through and like investigate and figure out why.
Gus just showed me the greatest image of Gary Coleman ever.
You shouldn't have talked about it because I don't think I can actually find it. I think I just found that thumbnail through Google. It's like cash copy.
What is it? Him as a security guard?
No, it's Gary Coleman standing between two women, but I guess since he's so short, he's like right at boob level and they're
Nice.
crushing his face.
I remember that
boobs.
episode.
Nice.
He looks very happy in the photo.
God, another thing. You know what? This happened to me last night. I'm on the topic of things that drive me crazy. This fucking drives me crazy. I had to go out last night. One of my kids had a sore throat, so I had to go out and pick up some antibiotics for him at the pharmacy. Why, when people go to the drive-through pharmacy, which is like the greatest invention in the history of the world, if people are sick, they don't have to get out of their cars, they just get their prescriptions filled in the drive-through pharmacy. When you drive up to the drive-through pharmacy and you hand over your prescription, and they say, this is going to take 30 minutes to fill, the correct answer is never, okay, I'll wait right here.
Right, in the drive-thru, right?
Who the fuck are these people that will sit there for 30 minutes in their car and not drive around the building once or anything like that?
The employees have to tell them to move, right? Like,
Yeah,
this doesn't actually happen.
When
does it?
McDonald's gets too busy, they say pull up front and we'll bring it out to you.
They do not do this. And it's like a total random crapshoot. And when you end up in this drive-thru pharmacy line, we get our stuff called in. Like when one of our kids needs a prescription filled, you just call it in and then you just go pick it up and that's it. It takes 2 minutes. That's it. But if you get wedged in between two cars and the person in front of you will literally sit there sometimes for 30 fucking minutes. It's just, you want to smash them. Like, they wouldn't stand at the cash register and block the cash register waiting for their prescription to be filled if they were inside the store. I don't know, what the fuck is wrong with these people?
Just lay into the horn.
Sick.
They're sick.
They're sick people.
Well,
Give them 30 minutes of horn.
I was driving by the CVS near my house yesterday, and I saw some dude pull into the CVS off of Lake Austin Boulevard, open the driver's side door, lean out, and throw up.
Wow.
Nice.
That
That guy was sick.
Not the cleanliest drive.
Dude, if I'm in throw up mood, I'm not driving anywhere. I'm living at the house, you know? That's a good excuse to stay home. Jesus, I don't know. I just don't understand people.
I thought you were going to talk about how people get Soundtrack Pro and park in front of that.
Dude, I don't want to talk about that either. Soundtrack Pro. Fuck Soundtrack Pro. I've been dealing with that thing trying to record these podcasts. I don't want to get into that. I want to torture you guys with my technical problems. I don't want to torture the rest of the world with it. Because let me put it this way. When I have a technical problem in this office, everyone has that problem.
Everyone knows. Bernie Smash.
It is not. I don't isolate myself with the technical problem. It is everyone's problem at that moment.
Yeah, because it's like, a problem in Soundtrack Pro can all of a sudden mean, problem for the desk and a hole in the desk.
Yeah, I banged a hole in one of our desks one time with a controller, but that was with a Halo problem I was having, and so now we have a permanent dent in one of the desks. Matt has adopted a great policy though now. He just says, "Huh, that's weird," and I know I'm not going to get any kind of empathy from Matt or any kind of help from Matt, so I don't even go to him anymore.
That's weird.
Fucking goes, "Huh, that's weird."
It's a great strategy.
Especially if it's a Mac problem. He does that. So, all right. I guess that's it. Anything else to discuss?
I don't think so.
Anything
Gus, you got
else?
anything?
Helpful tip. We know that travel right now is really cheap. If you want to book any travel for the summer, for cons and stuff like that, I think we looked at tickets going out to San Diego. Round trip, they were $100 each way. That's nothing, man.
Yeah.
And you were looking at going...
Griffin and I were looking at going to Amsterdam for 9 days, and hotel and airfare included, it was going to be $2,400, which is unheard of. So I don't know if we're going to actually do it, but definitely a good time to travel if you want to. And also, it's really safe to be on a plane right now.
And Gus, you want to give us a helpful travel tip for anybody who's traveling? Anything. All your years of travel.
Don't be a fucking idiot in the security line. Have your shoes on, have your shoes loose. Take your belt off.
Don't have
put all your shit in your bag before you get to the fucking.
Don't have
conveyor
a
belt.
pharmacy drive-through.
Here's a tip. They're going to make you take your computer out of the fucking bag, so do it.
It's a drive-through. It's not like a park and farm. I mean, seriously. It's like, just drive the fuck through. Get through. Sorry. I just really... I was theming last night. And what am I going to do? Am I going to honk at the person?
Yeah.
What if they're picking up, lithium, and they're like a mental patient? You don't know. You don't know anything. Just ram them.
No, and you're in the thing where any second they're going to move now. Any second they're going to move now.
I'll just get out of the car, get my stuff, and come back out. But any second now, it's going to be over.
Like this podcast.
All right, here's my travel tip. Book the exit row if you can. You have to be a certain age, I think 18 or over to do it, but book the exit row, and it's almost like getting a mini first
If you don't have a frequent flyer number, I'm not sure how easy it is to book the exit row.
Really?
Yeah, I think it's unavailable.
Get a frequent flyer number on every airline.
Don't be stupid.
Come see us at Comic-Con. We're going to be at Comic-Con.
Why are you
Booth
creating...
1437, I believe July 21st to 25th.
July 23rd to the 26th.
Something like that.
It's July 23rd. It's basically Thursday through Saturday.
Preview night the 22nd. So 22nd to 26th.
Well, everything's pretty much sold out right now, but I think the Sunday there's still tickets available.
There's still Thursday and Sunday tickets.
Okay. And then we're also going to be at PAX this year in August, so that's in Seattle. If you're going to be booking any travel, we got to do something on the East Coast, man.
And maybe we should give a shout out to Toronto.
RBTO.
We'll
Someone else will be there.
Yep.
Griffin and I'll be at Cafe Barterstoof in Amsterdam in 2 weeks.
I don't know where. Who's
Penny Arcade Expo's in September 4th through 6th.
Who's going to RBBTO?
I think I am.
Yeah, Jeff and Griffin, and I don't know beyond that.
Yeah, you should definitely look into that. And then I know Jenga's having an event in Philly. I don't know the dates right now, but I'm sure if you listen to this podcast, you probably listen to Jenga's as well. So, probably.
Absolutely.
Okay, that does it. Any other words?
Bye.
Words? You going to sing a theme song for us? Gus, final words?
Gus rules.
TTFN.
All right, bye, guys.
Theme song. That's the theme song. Fade out.